Hey everyone, this is Daniel. In today's video, we're going to talk about modify Power Apps and Power Automate due to SharePoint list permissions. And let me explain what that title means. So I had to actually build a solution which included a Power Apps and a Power Automate to give out free coupons to the end users. And I already had a list of 500 coupons from which I was going ahead and taking them one at a time. And it's interesting because you know how you say hindsight's always 20/20. I built the perfect solution. Everything was working, but when I started testing it as the end users, things went a little haywire. And it was such a rookie mistake that I made, all because of SharePoint list permissions. Because you see, moment you connect that list as a data source to a Canvas app, everybody needs access to that data source at some extent. And that is something I did not do for good reasons, which was securing data, and things started messing up. So I'm going to use this opportunity, a rookie mistake that I made, to show you what not to do. So stick around, this is very important. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started and let me walk you through the SharePoint list first and the first solution that I built. So like I mentioned before, there are two SharePoint lists. The first SharePoint list is where I went ahead and gathered 500 coupons that our vendor had given us, which gives us a huge discount of their price. And so that's what I did. I got the coupons, I went and created the SharePoint list. Here's the coupon, here's the expiration date. And then this is the control column that I use to keep track of, hey, has that coupon been consumed? And then the app and the flow takes care of which coupons to get. So that's basically it. And the list is very simple. I mean, this over here is just a choice type column. This is a date column. And then this is the default title that I just changed it. Very simple, right? And there's only 500 of these over here. Then I created another list. This list is actually keeping track of all the requests that are coming in, which means when somebody comes to my app to actually get a request for a free coupon, this is where I go ahead and save that request. And I do two things. First of all, I go and capture who was requested by, if there was any comments, and then the data from this original list, the coupon and the expiration date, I also go and capture that and I save it over here. That way I have everything in one location, because granted, I could build the relationship. I could have gone and grabbed the ID from here and saved it over here. But since there were only two items, which was the coupon and the expiration date, I just went and captured that and saved it over here for convenience sake, right? So that's the backend SharePoint list, right? I'm going to skip the permissions for now a bit, but I just want to show you the backend SharePoint list. So now that you've already seen that, let's go to the first scenario. The first scenario is where I go and click on the app and actually get the information. So this is what I call the scenario number one. Now remember, all of this testing is first being done by me as the maker. What that means is that if I come to the SharePoint list right now and if I go to site contents, as the site contents, I see both of them. The free coupons, which we've got, the 500 of them, and I see the requests which are being saved over here. So right now, this test scenario is not the most perfect one, but that's what I did, and it actually worked. Totally forgot about when I started messing around with, not messing around, when I started testing with an end user, things started going a little haywire, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here's the request coupon. Such a simple app. You click over here, and then automatically populates myself. If I want to put any comments, I can put that in and say, hey, thanks, for this offer. I just put that in, click on submit. You know how I build apps. I always trust but verify, which is why this pop-up comes in. I say yes, everything goes well. The last page or the last screen is perfect. You say, hi, Daniel Christian, your new coupon code is this, and its expiration date is that. You will receive an email with this code. You can now go and close the site. And as you know, this information, which is the code and its expiration date, well, that actually came from the free coupons. So as you can see now, it went ahead and actually said the first item has been consumed. It said that as yes, and it went and got the first coupon. See that PQHN1 over here, that's the one that I got, PQH1. So this is basically how I initially built it. Worked beautifully. Now let's go ahead and test this as an end user. Now remember, the end user does not have full access, but let me go and show you that. So here we are in as an end user. All right, now let's see what the end user sees from the SharePoint perspective. Now, as you know, the end user does have access to the site. So this SharePoint site, so the end user technically does have access to this free coupon request. But if you click over here, is not able to see the actual, do any changes over here. You got to click on the app launcher and it goes straight over there. By the way, I've done two videos on this topic, is how to go ahead and tighten the SharePoint list permissions. It shows you what I just did, is when people even find the SharePoint list and they're able to come to it, how you can still tell the users that, hey, this is not the place to do that, and protect that SharePoint list. I put both of those links in the description below. Go check those out if you're interested. Anyway, for the sake of this user, now we come in over here. Actually, one more thing. When I go over here to the site contents of this site contents, all this everyday user is able to see is the free coupons request. Because granted, people are smart. They will find out what the site contents is. I don't want them to go and find all the coupons over here. They will never use the app. And then I won't be able to keep track of them. So that's why I went ahead and hid that coupons list from the everyday user. And that was just by taking care of the permissions. So this is the situation right now, right? And when the user comes in, the user goes in and requests a coupon. It says, okay, Finn, this was a test. All right, this already came up. Click on submit. So yep, trust but verify. Click on yes. And the first time I did it, bang, that's the problem. So you don't have permission to view this data source, service response, free coupons failed. Well, okay, so it gave me a hint. It said free coupons failed. I said, well, I don't want that user to have access to the coupons. And then it just dawned on me. Like I said, hindsight's always 20/20. It's such a rookie mistake is that in this app, I went ahead and shared, I connected the free coupons data source as well. And when it comes to Power Apps and SharePoint or data sources in general, the moment you connect a data source over here, that user will need access to that data source at some levels. And I don't want that to happen. But because I went and connected over here, that was the problem. So let me show you this iteration, the Scenario 1 app, and how that worked. All right, so I'm in my Canvas App Studio, and this is that Scenario 1 app that I built. Simple, straightforward. It's got about a few screens. Main screen is to go ahead and figure out which screen you want to go to. Request screen, the simple screen that we do, it's going to edit from. View screen is the place where actually people are going to come and see. If they come back over here, how many coupons are requested, when they requested. And then there's the info screen. This is the final screen that people come in to give them information. What is their code, expiration date, will receive an email. All of that happens over here, all right? Now, the magic is happening in this request screen. So in this request screen, people come in, their name is by default populated. And that's something like that. This is how it works. This is the data card value. But when you actually go and click on the entire data card, go to the default, this is how you go ahead and auto-populate the person who signed in, how it automatically populates that. You may be already aware of that, but if you didn't, thought I'll at least show that over here. These are the items that you need to type in over here. All right. And then the comment is submitted, and then there is submit. Submit basically just sets a variable to true. This is how I go and get my pop-up menu. So when I click on Alt now, I'm just going to click on that, the pop-up menu comes up. And then this yes button, this is where all the other stuff happens. So let's talk about this for a minute. First thing it does is it goes ahead and gets the first filtered item of that free coupon SharePoint list whose value equals no. Let's go and take a look at what that means. So it actually comes over here to the free coupon SharePoint list. It goes ahead and gets me anything that is filtered where the value is equal to no. And there's a bunch of them. It'll go and filter a bunch of them. But I just want the first one. That is what it's doing. So if the next time I went ahead and use this app, it'll filter all the items over here. If I go and filter by, it'll go ahead and filter that to no. That's perfect. And it'll only go and get me the first item. That is basically what this formula means over here. Here, see that? Go ahead and set this value of var next coupon and then filtered first of all the values no, but only go and get me the first one. I actually go and take that entire item and I save it to the coupon. That's what I do. Next is that whatever was the item that I got over here, I'm going to go and patch the item and make its coupon consumed value as yes. So let's go take a look at that as well. What happens is this is the free coupons. Now I've actually gone ahead and gotten the first item. When I get the first item, I get everything because I'm only doing it at an item level, not an item column level, at an item level. So I get the coupon, expiration date, consume. I also get the ID column. So that second command that you see, it goes ahead and takes this item and it sets its coupon consumed to yes. So now if you go and see this, you will see that I'm going and patching that item. I'm doing a lookup of that ID that I get from up over here. See how the var coupon.id, well, that is the var next coupon. That's how I'm getting the var next coupon ID is the var next coupon dot. Like that's why I always go and do this filtering. I don't go and set it to a dot column. I just go and get the entire item, and therefore now all I just put in is a dot and I get the entire item, all right? Something you may already be familiar with. But this is it. Now I've gone ahead and set that value as yes. Next, what I did was I went ahead and now patched it. And then I went and patched it basically in this SharePoint list. I'm patching it to this free coupons list. I go ahead and get the coupon name, the request by, conspiration. I just go and patch all that information, all right? So that's what I do. And now, because I'm patching it to a people and a groups column, I've got to go ahead and use this patching technique over here. Something you may already be familiar with. If you're not, now you can see it. Coupon name, the coupon actually itself, what is the coupon number? Well, that is from the var next coupon dot coupon. And then the coupon expiration date, well, var next coupon dot expiration date. Comments, if any comments come in, it goes and patches that. This worked so well when I as a user when I as a maker was testing it. But see, I had to connect to the free coupons list, and that everyday users do not have access to the free coupons list. And this is that error that was coming, is that, hey, users are denied access to the free coupons. That's the error that I was getting. And then even though I would get this error, it would still go through because I was putting it on the on select. I could have put it on the forms on success, but I put it on the on select for this scenario. So it still went through, which means people were still getting emails. They just never got the coupon number. They never got the expiration code. And then the errors were coming up in the apps. So moment I realized, like in hindsight, it's always 2020. I realized my problem immediately. I said, oh boy, I got to rebuild this, which means I had to go ahead and take a few things off over here and put the load on Power Automate. When I say load, I mean I had to take it from here. Power Apps was doing a lot of calls and filtering. Well, I had to go and let Power Automate do that. And then I also had to take out some things. So let me now show you what the second scenario of this was. Well, one thing I completely missed showing you was the Power Automate flow of scenario number 1. And here it is. Simple 3-step process is when an item is created, that is what goes ahead and does the trigger. Nothing on the advanced side because no filtering or any views are happening. It's when an item is created, this is the site, this is the list. Go ahead and send that email notification because all the columns that I want are already there in the original list. And then it will go ahead and update that item that, hey, for that ID, an email value was already sent because the email was sent, right? That was the simple flow in scenario number 1 because remember, Power Apps was doing all the work over there. Now I'm going to show you the scenario number 2. So here I'm going to go in as the user. This is now the everyday user who's able to go ahead and do the scenario number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do a request a coupon. Again, it is the same user, and I'm going to just say, thanks for this free coupon. All right, I'm going to click on submit and it says, are you sure? Yes. This time it all goes through. And if you notice, we directly came over here straight to this home page. I didn't wait to go any other stuff over there. And now if I go to my SharePoint list, if I click over here, you will actually see the coupon has come in, it was requested by and everything. Again, remember, I'm seeing this as the everyday user. Now I do want to pause and tell you one thing. If you come in really fast over here and your flow is still running on the back end, you might temporarily see this coupon over here as blank. That's because now some additional work is happening on the flow. Once it goes ahead and gets triggered by the app submitting it, it runs a flow in the back end to actually get that information for you. No longer does the Power Apps do it, the flow does it, and I'll walk you through that in a minute. So initially, if you just came in over here, you saw this as blank, don't worry, because in a second or two, the data will come through over here. But other thing is now, even the email comes through. The email directly came in, it says, hi Daniel Christian, the email notification regarding your fuel coupons, your coupon, expiration date, everything came in just fine. So this worked as an everyday user. Suddenly now the user is able to see the free coupon. And just for your sake of reassurance, if I came back to my site contents, the user is only able to see the free coupons requests. And going in there, they can only see the requests that they've made. They don't see the free coupon list, the ones which actually has the coupons. So if you've already guessed it, all the work now, extra work is happening on the Power Automate side. But if we go take a look at that, let's take a look at what's happening on the Power Apps. So I'm going to go to my Power Apps, and which is me as a maker. And here is my coupon. And I have no idea but I spelled it that way. I'm going to say scenario, all right? So this was it. This is the scenario 2. Now in scenario 2, what I've done is I had to go ahead and take out the other data source. So all I have is my free coupon request. I removed the free coupons altogether. I don't see that list, and now I don't have it attached to the apps. I am not getting any errors directly in Power Apps side. But now when I come in over here to my Canvas app side, I go and take a look at my request screen. Request is where all the magic happens. From a front end, it looks the exact same. But if you guessed it, it's all happening now inside the submission space over here. So submit, when I click in, sets the value to true, which means the pop-up happens. But right now over here on this yes, this looks so much more less than what it was before. Remember, before on the top, we were actually going ahead and getting a free coupon. Then we were going ahead and updating its value to yes. And then after we did the patch over here, I'm not doing any of that. What I'm going and doing is I'm just going ahead and patching directly who went ahead and requested it. That is all I'm doing. I'm just going ahead and patching it. Moment I do that and add a new item, the Power Automate gets triggered and the Power Automate does all the work. So let's go take a look at the Power Automate flow. So as you guessed it, now I had a second automate just for that. It's basically the Power Automate scenario. On the second automate, I had to build the automate all together. So here I am now in my Power Automate. And remember, the first Power Automate one, which is a scenario number 1, 3 simple steps and was completed. Now that I went to scenario number 2, my Power Automate got a little bit more interesting. But here it is. It is now going and getting triggered when a new item is added. Again, nothing fancy over here. Item is getting triggered. But what I do now is I go ahead and set up a few variables. So I'm going to initialize 2 variables. I'm going to go and say, get my initialize of what is the coupon and then what is the coupon expiration. All right, get that. Next I do is I get items from free coupons. What I want to do is go ahead and get that specific item from the free coupons list. And here is how I'm doing the filtering, is that I said the coupon consumed equals no. I just want you to get the top count one. This is actually saving me some flow time and some flow calls because I only want the filtered items, which is basically over here. I only want all the ones whose coupon consumed is equal to no and just get me the first one. That's all it is doing. So that's how this get items work, and it goes and does the filter query and then the top count. And then this information I go ahead and then once I go ahead and get the item, now I go ahead and update that value. The coupon code value equals yes. So basically whatever I go ahead and get from here, moment I get it, I get the ID number and then I go and set its value to yes. Remember, Power Apps was doing it on the other side, but over there I needed to have all the end users have this permission. The beauty from the flow side is that when I did it as a flow, I did not need every single person to have access to the SharePoint list because Flow was doing it and Flow was using the maker levels permission access. Not everybody did it. That was the beauty of the Flow piece over here. So now I went ahead and updated this on that section, and then I went ahead and did the apply to each. In the apply to each, I go ahead and now get the coupon variation and I go ahead and get the var coupon number. Now I'll tell you that I didn't have to create the apply to each loop and then inside go and do this. The moment I was set the first variable, I went and set the value of the first variable to the expiration code. It automatically went and put me into an apply to each. So inside that apply to each, I went and added and updated the value of the second variable. The reason it does an apply to each is because we are making this get items call. So the flow kind of thinks that, hey, there may be multiple one of them, therefore I need to automatically put this into an apply to each, which kind of makes sense. But what the flow did not factor in is that, hey, that I only went and put in a top count of 1. So you and I know that only at every single scenario, only 1 item comes in, but Flow is just being cautious and therefore it automatically puts that into an apply to each, all right? So that's why this apply to each happens. So if you've kind of noticed it, because we are doing this get items and only calling 1, all the other actions have this apply to each going on. So in this apply to each, even when I send an email, it went and did an apply to each and that email went out over there. And then even this one, which is the second item, the second list that actually gaps all this information, it has a send email control column, and that send email control column was gone ahead and set its value to, they basically said yes. That's all I did over there. So this was the modified flow that I had to build. And over here, as you can see, it is definitely bigger than what the other one is. So what I want to do is actually kind of do a quick side-by-side comparison. So over here on the left is the free coupon request scenario number 2. And here is the first scenario. And as you can see, a lot has changed. The first scenario, which failed as for an end user because of permissions problem, over there the flow was so simple. This is when an item is created, it went ahead and sent an email, it went ahead and sent an update, and it just worked for the maker. It did not work for every users. But as you can see, it was just 3 simple steps. Item got created, send an email, updated the item. But now when I had to fix the problem, right, so that the permissions wouldn't have a problem in Power Apps, Flow was taking on a little bit more work. Right now, I went and created the item, but then I went and got the items from the coupon. No longer was SharePoint, but no longer was Power Apps doing it. Power Automate was doing it. So it went and made the get item call. I put the OData filter query, and I'm also saying get only the top one. It is very important that you do not forget this step, because otherwise it will go ahead and do a filter query of all the items which is equals to no. So if say you've got 500 items in that SharePoint list and only one of them has a value no, well, it's going to go and pull, only one of them has a value yes. 499 of them still have no, which means this flow is going to run 409 times over here. So this top count one is very important. And then like you can see, there's a lot of other work going on inside the apply to each. We're going on and updating the item that we've already got that coupon consumed. We go ahead and now update the other, set the values of the variables. We go ahead and apply to each to send emails. You know, like moment you assign these values, the apply to each automatically kicks in over there. Bottom line is that this flow is a little bit more sophisticated than this one over here because I had to manage the permissions. And the same thing on the Power App side as well. This one that you see on the right, this was my first scenario. See scenario number one, where Power Apps was filtering the free coupons and making sure I only get the first one whose value is equal to no. It went and did that. Whatever was that SharePoint list item that it pulled, it set its value to yes. And then afterwards I went and patched it over there. This was the first scenario. But I went ahead and connected that free coupons data source list, which means now the users had to have access to that. And that's why my Power Apps is flowing. But because I took all the load from here and put it on the Power Automate side, see the scenario number two, the Power Apps became a lot easier. I just went and patched that one simple scenario of what if the user's name, which is requested by, and the comments, and then the flow went ahead and did all the work over here. So as you can see how when you start switching things around, it does clean up on one side, but then it adds more weight on the other side. So hindsight's always 20/20, right? Because now that I fixed the problem, I was saying, what was I thinking? That was such a rookie mistake that I made. But at that time, I got so engrossed in actually building the app and the flow, and I was also bound by time. So I completely missed that permissions issue. But the good thing is always test your solutions. Always do it from both the maker side and the end user sides. Because if I had not done that, I would not have found this mistake over here. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. And as always, keep using Power Apps and Power Automate. Hey everyone. Hopefully you found this video useful. And if you did, can you help me help you? Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel? Because remember, I provide fresh content on a weekly basis and it's 100% free. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much and pass the word. But if you haven't, subscribe, click on the bell notification and let the learning begin.